Well, let's return now to our top story. And British police say the Manchester bomber was part of a network which they are investigating. 4 people are now in custody in relation to the attack. The terror threat level in the UK has been raised to critical, and that means another terrorist attack may be imminent. Well, joining us from Newcastle is Chris Wood. He's a security expert at Northumbria University. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Chris, how long do you anticipate the critical level of threat to remain in place?
Well, determining whether or not the critical level is going to remain in place for any period of time is going to be something that's left down to the Prime Minister, the security services and the police when they meet in their Cobra meetings. But from what's certainly coming about here and what can be seen from what is expressed by the Home Secretary and the Prime Minister and what's being conducted by the Metropolitan Police and Security Services would indicate that the critical level is going to stay in place for the foreseeable future until they are content that the imminent threat that is posed by terrorists is reduced back down to severe, something that we last saw happen in 2006.
In 2006, that was, of course, the liquid bomb fears, wasn't it? So what has changed in the last few days? What was it about this particular attack that has meant, in their meetings with Cobra, that they've raised this level, they've put soldiers out on the streets?
Well, certainly it's going to be the looking at the network, because whilst the suspect remained on the security services watch list to look out for, what's developed in the last few days, particularly would have developed within hours of the incident happening, is determining this wider network cell activity. Because, put it this way, the security service are in a position where what they'll do is if you take a jigsaw puzzle, you throw it in the air and watch it land on the ground and say to them, right, based on what the pieces are there, tell me what the picture is, they've got no hope. So ultimately what they have to do, and they have to do it quickly and critically, is piece together the pieces using the evidence, using the intelligence, and get the bigger picture. And that's how they can find the wider terrorist network. And so that's what they've done over the last few days, which is what is fair to say has led to a number of arrests, a number of people being detained and being questioned by the police, so that they can ensure that the critical level isn't going to be something that might well be carried out as an imminent threat itself.
So as we're starting to hear more about the attacker and more evidence is being found, the process that investigators are going through, it is like putting together pieces of a very tricky puzzle.
It is, because, I mean, ultimately the suspect sits into a category that amongst intelligence services and amongst academics, he fits the perfect profile. He is between the ages of 18 plus, he's a male, he's of a certain belief, and he's educated, and he comes from a well-do family. And they are actually good indicators of the people who we tend to see more lean towards radicalisation with Islam, Islamic extremism. But what will have happened in the last few days is they'll be piecing together the information about him. They'll be looking at his family, they'll be looking at his friends, they'll be looking through his bank accounts, they'll be looking through his mobile phone history, and they'll be using that information to see who he's been in contact with recently, who does he know that is also on the Secret Service watch list, and when was he last in contact with them? Which people has he purchased items from that would have assisted him to construct the bomb that he used at Manchester Arena? And these are the things that they'll be looking at. And what's quite important is that information remains private and secret to the Secret Service and isn't something that's squandered or speculated on by other governments or media.
Well, Chris Wood, thank you very much. So a scramble for information, because it has to be done very quickly.